Welcome to Off the Clock, a podcast by Procino-Wells in Woodland, where we take a team-centered, family-focused approach to serving the estate planning and elder law needs of our community in Delaware. I'm Megan Seksinski, Director of Community Relationships at Procino-Wells in Woodland, and I'm joined today by Lori Smith, Program Director of WeCare Services. We're excited to have Lori as our guest today so our listeners can learn more about WeCare and their model and how it's designed to improve our neighbors' quality of life. So let's get started. Good morning, Lori.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Very good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I know, Lori, that we are bound to have listeners who have not yet heard about WeCare, and I'd love to start with the quick version of what you do and who you serve.
Thank you. We appreciate this valuable opportunity in educating Delawareans what WeCare is about. We're a grant-funded program that helps anyone 55 and older or disabled. We can help them with life-sustaining resources. We are a bunch of personal health nurses that call members weekly to check on them, to make sure that they have their medications, to make sure they have food, remind them of doctor's appointments, and provide resources if they need them. And we are all grant funded, so we can work with any program. We do not bill insurances.
Wow, that's incredible. So you said a couple terms that I want to make sure our listeners can clarify. Let's start with personal health nurse. So how is that model different than what someone might get at maybe a typical doctor's visit or through a home healthcare agency? What does personal health nurse really mean?
A personal health nurse is a nurse that is assigned to a member when they join WeCare, and we call them weekly. So as long as that member is with WeCare, they're going to be talking to that nurse throughout their entire enrollment. Again, enrollment is free, so it provides a better continuity of care between that member and the nurse, so we get to know them personally and their needs.
Mhm. I imagine personal health nurse sometimes gets replaced with friend, like you're developing friendships with these patients that you serve. So what does a typical weekly call look like when that personal health nurse gets on the call with your patient? What kinds of things are you covering with your patients?
Well, first of all, we always ask them how they're doing and how their day is going or their family. And then we ask them if they have all of their medications, make sure that they have food, make sure that they have their utilities paid. With it getting into the summer season, it's getting really hot. There's programs out there that can assist members with air conditioning even.
Mhm.
So, and then the family usually gets so involved in telling us how they're doing, how their doctor's appointments are doing, the upcoming doctor's appointments, or if they've had any hospitalizations. And then the personal health nurse, we can pull from our resources and help them in those specific areas that they may need, but they don't know how to get in touch with those resources.
Mhm. Wow, that's incredible. Is there a story maybe that's top of mind that would be appropriate for our listeners to hear that captures what that relationship turns into over the course of these weekly calls? Is there a story you could share?
Oh, there's hundreds of stories like this. Usually at the end of the week in our meetings, the nurses will exchange stories that have touched our lives as well as those members. One of them that I can think of in particular happened to me, where she was going through an extremely particular time, didn't feel like she could really talk to her family about it. And she told me about this one flower that had been passed down from hundreds of generations back through her family that only bloomed for the first time, one time a year. And she kept sending me pictures of her. And that's just one of the many stories. We celebrate with our members, we cry with them, we laugh with them, we send them birthday cards, we get well cards,
Mm.
and it's a phenomenal relationship that is back and forth.
Wow. From our perspective and our work in elder law and estate planning, that kind of consistent connection is exactly what can prevent a crisis from becoming a real catastrophe. So that's incredible. I am kind of looking to my notes, some things I wanted to be sure we covered in our conversation today. And one of those is making sure we introduce the 4 core programs. So could you cover those for our listeners, making sure they understand your 4 core programs?
The 4 core programs that we have is a part of EHRI. Some of those programs can include bingo size, matter of balance, chronic disease self-management. Those are the 3 biggest ones. As we get older, the bingo size has taken off phenomenally. So what that involves, it can be held in many different areas. We do hold them here at the Wellness Village from time to time. Moderate Maturity holds them, but it combines playing bingo with exercise. So every time a bingo game is played, afterwards they do some exercise to music, and then they go back to playing bingo. And some of the chronic disease self-management programs entail, obviously, chronic disease, how to support them, how to get the best treatment and care, and just education related to that specific concern that they have. So there's plenty of support and education and information that just continues from the doctor's office. It's covered more in detail.
That's really great. You also told me about the diabetes self-management program. So I imagine that's a hyper-focused group that you're serving with that core program. Is that right?
It is, yes, and that's involved in the EHRI, those programs as well. So there's a whole new summer schedule that should be coming out here very shortly, and you can go to milfordwellnessvillage.com and look at those upcoming classes.
That's a good segue to introduce Milford Wellness Village to our listeners as well. We've had some other guests from the complex on our podcast episodes, but in case those episodes haven't been listened to, let's do a quick introduction, a quick little explanation maybe of what Milford Wellness Village is, where it is, and what's there.
That's a wonderful topic. So in a world where healthcare often feels complicated, rushed, and impersonal, the Wellness Village, Mr. Mirgelli, has brought together his amazing vision of having healthcare businesses in one location. So we have Village Primary Care. We have 2 nurse practitioners there that are absolutely phenomenal. We have General Pharmacy right next door to the practitioners. And what we really love about General Pharmacy being nurses is that a lot of our older members don't have the transportation. So Jenna will actually mail out prescriptions. You can pick them up. They can be delivered. Plus, if you want to switch to them, they will call your doctor, have the prescriptions sent over. And this is especially helpful in the winter when our seniors don't have to go out to avoid slip and fall injuries. So we also have Easter seals. We work very closely with Easter seals to help provide respite to some of our caregivers that otherwise would not have that opportunity. So we have a public cafe here. We have nurses and kids. We have Banyan Treatment Center. We have Pace Your Life. There's Polaris. There's actually Serenity Counseling. So as you can tell, there's many more businesses as well, but it is a village of healthcare.
It is an incredible thing to see and tour, and would be a great thing to add to anyone's list to be aware of that local resource. Really good.
Yes.
So back to WeCare Services. Are the programs truly free? I know that somewhere some listener will think that to themselves. Are they really free? So can you speak to that and maybe also cover who qualifies for WeCare Services and how would someone sign up?
Great questions. So WeCare is absolutely free. The enrollment process is free. We do not bill insurances. If you would want to join in WeCare, you can always call 302-459-3900. please let us know where you heard about us and we can schedule an enrollment. Anyone 55 old and older or disabled can join. And we also strongly encourage family members to be participants in this as well. One of the biggest things I will say that we really do is try to avoid unnecessary hospitalizations. We want that member and that loved one to be able to stay at home and healthy. So we do a lot of education with our members and try to help them out as much as possible. And WeCare is a resource hub. So we have members that have these needs that don't know how to get them. We always try to hook our members up with those resources that they need. And by staying in touch with them weekly or every 2 weeks, we can follow up on them and guide them in their journey and assist them as their needs also change.
And so, if you had the opportunity to speak to a friend or a family member who sees their loved one struggling and just doesn't know where to start, what advice would you give them?
I would start out by telling them about WeCare. And we've had a lot of members refer us by word of mouth because they're like, how comes we have not heard about WeCare?
Right.
Where's it advertising? Where have they been hiding? And so the word of mouth is actually getting out there. And the name of WeCare truly is we do care. We care about the individual members. We will at times go visit them at the hospital. And again, just provide that support that they need as in resources or just by that phone call, just saying, hey, how are you doing this week? Are you okay? A lot of our members live alone, so we may be the only person that they talk to this week.
Mhm.
And another important aspect of WeCare is we work closely with Modern Maturity Center and Cheer in the Meals on Wheels program.
Really great resources. I imagine you are a wealth of knowledge about the resources in our community that you're right. Folks just don't know how to ask the right questions to find these things that are available to us all. So, is there anything about WeCare that we haven't covered that you want to be sure our listeners hear more about?
I always like to encourage members if they're on the fence about joining, because there are so many scams making going on today that they're not sure what is legit and what is not. I can guarantee we are 100% legitimate. We definitely care, and I like to have WeCare in place before something happens, that we can get those resources to that member as soon as possible or help them transition or get through those difficult times. And we also have formed a very, very close working relationship with the Lions clubs. And what happens is if a member needs an assistive device, with insurance companies, it takes forever to get them. So we provide our contact information to the Lions Club of the member that has that need. And then the Lion Club member and our WeCare member connect, and they can usually always get them the assistive device that they need.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, what are some examples of assistive devices that the Lions Club has provided?
The top ones are probably rollators, shower
Mhm.
chairs, some bedside commodes, and canes.
Wow.
So, and there have been members that have received like hospital beds,
Mm.
um, but not too many. And I just want to let everyone know too, WeCare covers the state of Delaware.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, not just hyper focused in Milford, the whole state. Wow.
Correct.
Wonderful. Well, that's incredible information. Thank you so much for sharing with our listeners, Lori. I want to be sure you can repeat all of your contact information. We've covered a couple things, but let's circle back and provide the location of your program, the phone number to reach you. Let's tell our listeners about your website again. Let's wrap up with that.
Okay. Again, my name's Lori Smith, Program Director here at WeCare Services. We can be reached at 302 459-3900. We're located at 21 West Clark Avenue, Suite 1045 in Milford, Delaware, and more people know it as the Old Milford Hospital.
Very good. Very good. Well, Lori, thank you so much. I love it when we can find these incredible resources and share in a more broad way with our community. So thanks for making the time to sit with me and chat with me and share with our listeners. We are so thankful that you're here.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate this opportunity, and WeCare's mission and purpose is to help all of those members that really need the help, don't know where to turn to get it, and we actually become family with our members. It's amazing.
I can tell that there's a lot of close personal relationships happening. That's wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So thanks for being with us today on Off the Clock. If you'd like to learn more about us, visit our website at pwwlaw.com. Of course, you can contact us directly by calling 302-628-4140 or emailing info@pwwlaw.com. We're here to help you plan today to protect your families tomorrow. See you next time. Anything discussed on Off the Clock is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship. To obtain the most reliable guidance, listeners are encouraged to seek personalized advice from qualified professionals.